Good morning. Where the heck are we at? Well, let's see here. Knocked out a couple shots here. This reaction shot was done in Blender 2.8 yesterday. So Mr. Big's animation was done in Blender, and then the background characters as well as the background painting were all done probably in Krita. Then I just got this quick shot where this guy's having sort of a little bit of a reaction to his embarrassment sort of situation. And now we're back to the next shot, which I'm gonna I'm bouncing around quite a bit. It's interesting because I'm using this animatic type this really long timeline in OpenTunes. By the way, I should save that to just know what my shots are, what the next shot is, and then I go back and I look at this these pre-baked stills that are actually part of this OpenTunes level. And for the next shot, he says something along the lines of the weapon miss, meaning go ahead and drop your weapon. So I realized that this shot, and actually this one too, there's a lot of good stuff here that could be used, all culminating in this expression, this sort of smug expression he has when he tells you to go ahead and drop the blade. So let's get this out of the way. So I decided, in the interest of having all kinds of fun, to just go ahead and do this shot in Krita. So that's what I'm doing. It's really just about that simple. We got to go to the brush here. So, well, when I went through those shots, what I meant by that is that I pulled all these different shots in here as layers so that I can sort of chomp together a composited animation. So what I think I'm going to do is go ahead and give this guy some lip sync. And by the way, I don't really think his eyes were done correctly here. So let's just fix that right now. So yeah, that's what we're going to do, is we're basically going to go through and sort of fix things and get the animation pounded together. So let's see here. This shot, yeah, okay. His eyes were always little beady dots. So in this case, it's going to be a little bit clunky to fix because we've got to use the shadow color and then the eye color. And that wasn't too tough. Alright, so there's your eye color, there's your shadow color. Okay, so that's cool. Now we can sample the dark color. And I don't like that. One thing that always bugged me in some older cartoons was when they got sloppy about keeping the eyes aligned correctly, because they're trying to cut costs or whatever, and so they're moving fast, and it wouldn't really look like the eyes were properly, they're cross-eyed. The characters would be cross-eyed and stuff, like in old Saturday morning cartoon type shows like Super Friends or whatever. Okay, so now what we need to do is, I definitely think his head is a little wonked here, and so let's do a shear operation, see if that fixes most of it. I think it will. Okay, and obviously he has no eyebrows, okay, or mouth. So I don't really want to marry the the head to the body, because I think there's going to be a turn of the head. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and make these two guys a group. Alright, and then I can add a layer inside of there that's going to be the mouth. And yet another one that's going to be the eyebrows. Okay, so if we do that, then what you find with Krita is, because when you insert a keyframe, it deletes whatever was in the image. It's easy to correct for because you just hit undo after you insert the keyframe. Then you still have the keyframe, but your image is preserved. But anyway, as a matter of habit, I tend to go ahead and get my keyframes inserted right off the bat. Did that take? Not sure if that took. I don't think it did. So let's go here. Cannot transform. What's this? Oh, can't transform an empty layer. Who knew? Okay, so let's do the same thing here. Insert a keyframe. It's very Krita. I'm inserting keyframes and basically nothing's happening. So there, once I do it with the, so there's a hotkey, and I kid you not, this is literally true. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like there it worked because I used the mouse. The hotkey. It's just crazy. So I like Krita for a lot of things, especially background painting. But in terms of stability, Krita is less than a joke. It's so pathetically stupid when it comes to basically the interface, like clicking things and hotkeys. Krita is probably the most unstable piece of garbage I work with. But if you save your work often and are careful, you can still get a lot of work done with it. So it is what it is. But that's what you just witnessed is exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. You grab a layer, you hit insert to insert a keyframe. The hotkey for insert a keyframe in my case is insert, so therefore it should insert a keyframe. And like I said, sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. I'm going to keep the sunglasses on because I've been getting a lot of screen time. Okay, so now one thing that's definitely kind of interesting here. Oh yeah, eyebrows. Okay, so yeah, what I want to do is I want to get rid of his mouth. Let's just hit the B key, and we might as well cut it out on the assumption that I like the expression. So I'm actually going to hit the C key just to make it a little easier for myself. And now I'm going to turn that off so I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, that's fine. And then I'll hit Control E to merge that down into the mouth layer. Now in the actual face layer, I can go ahead and sample the background color. Sorry. Make my brush nice and big, and poof, erase his mouth. Okay, so we've got this flesh tone selected, so why don't we just go ahead and fix some of this trashy looking stuff. I guess that's a different color that's required, and that really needs to be in the neck layer, I guess you'd say. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now there's our evil henchmen. I mean, I don't know if I should say they're evil. They're not necessarily evil, but they definitely are henchmen. So I guess it'd be better to fix this with the gray color. So the way I'm working, I mean, I don't know. Doing this in Krita was possibly ill-advised. Here again, I think I mentioned this yesterday, but this is one of the things that's making me feel better about gravitating a little bit away from OpenTunes. This sort of noisy, crappy, icky, gross, splashes of color and confusion is completely normal, and you get this there's never a time when you don't get this in OpenTunes. Now, I don't mean to say that caustically in the sense that a moment ago I was talking about Krita caustically. Frankly, in most cases, this is stuff you don't really see. You know, things are moving. You know, it's like it's there and it's kind of ugly, but you don't really notice it. So it's one of those things you can kind of let go a lot of the time. But yet, it's always been a bit of an annoyance. It's a function of the way that OpenTunes deals with tunes raster levels, because if you think of it, within a tunes raster level where you're going to have ink and paint, there is no concept of multiple layers. It's one flat layer, so any given pixel can only hold one color or another. And the way, and so OpenTunes has some metadata that it keeps track of that allows you to, for example, change a color after the fact. So you could go to the palette, change this color to a little different skin tone, let's say, and it would just update. Well, something about the way OpenTunes keeps track of all that data has a downside, and the downside is it kind of gets confused about what is a fill and what is a line. And it sounds kind of like gibberish to explain it, but the manifestation of the issue is what you just saw right here. This sort of, you know, kind of noisy, messy, icky stuff. So, and there's never a time with OpenTunes that you don't have that, but like I said, it's usually not a problem. And I sort of mitigated it to an extent by getting rid of anti-aliasing in my inking. Do the anti-aliasing after the fact, and that makes everything look pixelated until you apply that final blur. But the good side of it is that the corruption, which I think has to do with the you know, the alpha channel right at the edge, was certainly mitigated to a large degree. So anyway, always trying to figure out ways to. Okay, that didn't work. I think we want probably that brush. And we need to have these little wingdingers in there. Okay, so save early, save often is always the rule. Okay, so I've already got the correct color selected pretty much. Well, I guess to be safe I could go here, grab that color. I think I was right before, honestly. That seems too dark to me. Hello? Yes, that's better. So, his expression is one of general waning patience, let's say. Okay, yes, his patience is beginning to wane. Okay, let's flip that. I don't like that. So I still have pretty mixed feelings about trying to get real animation done in Krita. It usually is clunky, to put it mildly, but yeah, it's still a fun challenge, so what the heck. Alright, here we go. Mr. Big needs to have a little bit of gray in his hair. Let's go to almost exactly 50% gray. And let's go to Mr. Big Head. And we just want to put a hint of gray in his hair. So what's attractive about Krita is it's just, you know, it's a paint program. All the filters and all the tinting and all just the stuff you can do with it in a painting sense is quite good. It's just when it comes to animation is where things tend to sort of fall apart a bit. But that's okay. I mean, that's okay. You know. Okay, so clearly we need to have some teeth going on, and so I'm going to actually hit the fill tool and see if it is willing to work with me here a bit on the teeth situation. Yeah, I don't want to put that in there. I probably would, except that he really hasn't had something like that before, so I don't want to be changing the character now. We will stop there. Okay, so now what's going to need to happen is I want to turn onion skins off. Okay, so now that means I can take my brush. Oops. I need that color. Mouth layer. I'm always checking to make sure I'm in the correct layer. Alright, and this I'm going to just set the opacity really low. Oh, that was close. A little bit higher. Doesn't feel like I'm getting pressure sensitivity here. I don't think I am. I forgot about that. I was working yesterday and realized I didn't have pressure, and then forgot about that until this morning. So, okay. And what I'm going to do is actually just grab this. I'm going to double this because now, miss. I think I'm going to change my mind. That one, I think we want to insert. Boom. And let's make it slightly lighter, slightly redder, and hope for the best. Okay. Yep. Really? What sort of favor? Of course. Gonna go buy some oatmeal? Yeah. Hey, whatever, man. You know, you got wheels now. You're mobile. Right. That's kind of what I meant. Yep. So Kyle's borrowing the van. That's good. First day with his driver's license. Officially earned it yesterday. So of course we gotta come up with a reason to hit the road, right? I would. I'm sure I did when I was just a tender youngster. Growing up. Actually, speaking of which, oh, fiddlesticks. Okay. Pull back out here. So, there's something about the discipline, I guess you'd say, of working sort of microscopically like this that is kind of attractive, like in a perverse sort of way. Okay, so I modified his mustache, and now that's sort of coming back to haunt me a little bit. But that's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this tweaked part, go back to here, and just paste and then hit Control E, and it didn't work. Okay. Okay, so I'll say that this happens a lot with Krita. This is probably a good example of the sort of thing I was talking about earlier. Okay, I guess as long as I'm here, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to touch this up. Okay. Now you would think if I grab this, I'm on the correct layer, Control C. If I come back to this earlier keyframe, whether or not there's an active selection shouldn't matter, but I'm going to go Control Shift A so there is no active selection, and then hit Control V. Okay, so now what just happened was OpenTunes pasted in precisely nothing. Okay, so we use the rubber band to grab, shoot, sorry, I'm moving a little fast here apparently. So we use the rubber band to grab a selection, and normally if this was just a flat one, you know, it wasn't animated, if it's just a painting, I'm pretty sure what I did would work. But Krita is, in fact, let's just try that. If we hit the S key here and we go Control C, Control V, there it worked. Okay. Now, again, in a perverse way, I guess it makes sense. Because what you really want to do is stay on the same. I mean, I guess it does kind of sort of make sense. I'll bet you if I grab this, but paste it in the same frame, yes, see, that works. Okay, it's because I need to take this now, slide it back to frame 0, and then merge it. So, being critical, but honestly, in a way, it does make perverse sense. Because Krita's thinking in terms of, you know, rows and columns, if you will, in terms of the animation timeline or X sheet, whatever you want to call it, and it does make sense because at frame 0, at frame 0 on the new layer that's being generated, there is nothing at frame 0. So this is the new. So probably when I pasted that in, actually, it may be that in that new layer that I pasted in, it might be that if I went up to frame 3, that all of a sudden it would have appeared. So if that makes sense, if you followed that, then in a way it does kind of make sense that it works the way it does. So, fine. Okay, so let's go to the mouth layer. Yeah, so I'm definitely moving slow today. Definitely moving slow. Now. Okay, I'm going to take the... So this is going to be... Okay, first of all, this needs to be stretched. Okay. Alright, and then these need to be taken out of it. Okay, that's not bad. What is this? It looks like these are the same, but the problem is Krita's Krita often does not refresh its, it doesn't update. So maybe these are the same and maybe they're not. They look like they are, so I'm going to go ahead and, okay, stop. If you hit delete, I think you're like deleting levels, which is usually not what you want. So you actually have to sit here and go remove keyframe, just to be safe. Okay. Okay, so this needs to be kind of a more like a okay, yeah, the opacity is set lower. That's unfortunate, because I'm literally going to have to erase this and redo it. But that's okay. So, boom, boom. That's not really the shape I want. Alright, I know that looks stupid, but there's a method to the madness here. Ooh, I can't believe that filled as well as it did. Okay. Bit of a shock. Bit of a shock. Okay, and then this really needs to be a closed mouse situation. I guess, I don't know if this is going to be right, but yeah, now we need basically a teeth situation. Okay. Let's do a fill behind and see if that looks better. Okay, yeah. And then let's go back to normal. Okay, except, actually, we'll go behind, but really that wasn't light enough. I'm going to say that's slightly too light. That's probably about right. Okay. Back to normal. And we need to grab this, put the opacity. Ah, shoot, that's not what I wanted to do. B. Okay. Keep it simple, Sherlock. Okay, in this case, I think what I want to do here is literally erase. And then let's go back here, because I just want to keep the look consistent. Okay, I gotta jump through a couple of hoops here. That's alright. We don't mind jumping through hoops. That doesn't quite cut it because it needs to be lighter. Alright. Okay, so what he's saying is now, the weapon. Okay, I'm going to save that. Let's go ahead and play that back. Now, obviously, there's a couple major discrepancies here because I was going to use these other poses, and there's a lot more that's supposed to happen. So, let's see. This is chalked up to 100 frames at the moment, and I'm in a different window here, but I'm going to change that to 60. Okay, I will object to the ups and downs. Okay, again, Krita. The spacebar starts the. Okay, this is classic Krita right here. It's the spacebar that creates stop and go. The problem is you really don't ever want to do what this suggests you can do, which is type in a start or end frame. Because if you do, even if you click here with your mouse, Krita will maintain, as you can see the little blinking thing there, Krita maintains the focus. So you go off and you're doing other work and you totally forget about it and you don't realize that for some absolutely ridiculous reason, that little text box is holding the keyboard focus. So then the next time you hit any keyboard hotkey, you wind up typing that hotkey into this little box. You know, in the entire world, and this is completely literally on the entire planet, not one person has ever noticed that problem and or brought it to the attention of the Krita developers, apparently, because that issue has been in place for at least a year. So spank me for not being the guy who files the bug report. Alright, so the problem that we have now that we need to fix is a couple things actually. The first thing I want to do right now that I'm thinking about it is I want to set this up so it jumps from keyframe to keyframe. For some reason, I swear I thought I did that. But that's okay. What we're going to do is just need to, I mean, in this case, I'm going to suffer the indignity of having to click, click, click. I don't like having to click a lot. I prefer to have keyboard shortcuts. You know. I know. Whine, whine, whine. Complain, complain, complain. I think this is going to look better. Okay. Okay, that's pretty good. So let's just let it play. Now, there's something here. Honestly, there's probably too many mouth shapes. I'm gonna save my work, and I think what I'm gonna do is just delete this keyframe and see what that feels like. I see the problem. Let me undo that. It's actually this one. Just doesn't look right. So now I'm going to hit the Alt key so I can ripple edit. One thing that's very good in Krita, as far as animation goes, is the ability to ripple edit. Now, the weapon, ma'am. Now, weapon, miss. Yeah, he says miss, not ma'am. Okay, I'm going to let that go double length. Okay. And where is that other M? Right there? Okay, I'm going to ripple this as well. Okay, I like that. So now what I have to decide is, we've got this in a group. I don't know if I'm going to mess with his eyebrows too much. Let's play with it. Let's play with it. What I'll do is I'll go click here, And then we'll go to the teardrop thingy dingy. And I'm actually going to do a twist. I think. This is risky. How do I reverse it like this. I actually wanted the opposite of what I got. So. Okay. Okay. Back to 0. This is definitely not especially intuitive. I think I'm better off using this. And just doing it like the, yeah, like in the Blender grease pencil sort of thing. Well, I mean, it's great that you can do this, you know. I want to go, yep, when he says weapon, come on, baby. See, again, Krita right here. I'm using the animate tool, or the transform tool, I should say. I'm clicking, and now it's jumping between keyframes. Why? I have no idea. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, weapon miss. It's too much. Well, that's what happens. So remove that keyframe. Okay. This keyframe's probably going to have to be removed. I want to pull this one back a little bit. That's not bad. It might be a little too much animation. I think it probably is. Let's get rid of this keyframe and just pull this one back to here. Okay, and then let's leave that reaction until afterwards. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move this, the length of my animation, just for lack of a better idea. I'm going to change it to 90 seconds. Okay, that's fine. So, now, what is suggested by what I learned earlier is that if I want to take some of these other poses like this shift in this guy, I have to make a decision here. Do I want to just go with this, or do I want to integrate some of these other poses into the animation? I think this one probably should be discarded because even though I like the smug expression on his face, I think the acting here captured it reasonably well. You know, different, not better, just different kind of thing. And I could see putting this one... Yeah, I think I know what I want to do. I want to go right there on weapons. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this key and I'm going to copy it up to here. Okay, and the reason I'm going to do that is so that on this frame I can select all and delete everything. Okay. Did that work? No, it did not. So we have this keyframe here. Oh wait, it did work. Oh brother. OpenTune's inserted an opacity keyframe. Okay, that's like dumber than a box of rocks. Fine. I can't believe it's like the opacity keyframes were like nothing was working right. Now that I don't want one, it's like sticking it in there. So I need to go to my animation curves, and you can see what I got to do is delete that. I think that probably did the trick. Okay. So now we'll go here and we'll say, well, we want it to be fully opaque. But what we need to do is, let's do control insert. Okay, control insert is what used to be copy keyframe. I don't know where the they've made this more capable ostensibly, but also more confusing. There used to only be a couple options, but it was really clear what they did. You either copying a keyframe or creating a new one. If you created a new one, the frame would be made blank. If you're copying a keyframe, it would just give you another key, but preserve the picture. So anyway, this is what I wanted to do. And of course, it's doing the same thing again. Now, I added this keyframe, and that was just weird. Why it would make it invisible here, I have absolutely no clue. But why fight it? Why fight it, folks? Why fight it? Okay, so now what I want to do is on this frame, this is where it gets a little complicated. I want to take Mr. Big and let's insert a keyframe here. And actually, let's insert a keyframe here. The mouth we can leave. Okay, so now what we need to do is move Mr. Big okay, and on this part we need to, let's just animate it. Let's just do it this way. Let's just take the mouth layer such as it is and just drag it around. Make our life simpler. I'm gonna wanna, I guess honestly that should be reversed like so. Let's make that basically the right dimensions. Same thing here. It seems to me there was a... Yes. Is this it? Yes. Okay, cool. Kudos to Krita on that point. They make it fairly easy to just reverse a layer. So let's just do that again. Hello? I guess you have to select it first. Boom. I like the way it it looks a little bit like he's smiling. Looks like maybe I put the eyebrows in the... no? Let's go to the eyebrows layer. Hello? Apparently it really doesn't want to let me erase, and that's because the opacity is set so low. Okay. So now I think I actually got what I was after. So the problem is kind of a problem I've been bumping into quite a bit. Setting aside the fact that the other Ninja doesn't seem to have updated. I'm almost sure that I had a different Ninja pose here. So what I was getting at is the problem I'm having is that that animation is too abrupt. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to stick in another keyframe. Alright. Let's go to where it changes. Okay. So up here it has changed. Let's take that out completely. Oh, I see. That's his body. There's Mr. Big's head. Okay. So you got old head and new head. So I'm going to merge these. I think that'll do it. Yes. Okay, I'm going to merge that. So now if you take his body out. Okay, fine. So for our purposes, trust me, there's a method to the madness here. This is actually going to make sense here in just a minute. Kyle, did you already go to town? Did you already go to town? Oh. Okay. So now what I want to do here is I'm having to fight a little bit of a dyslexia moment. But I think what I want to do is insert a keyframe here. But no, I want to control insert. Actually, let's do it this way. Pull this back 2 frames and then control drag. Now this shot is the one I want to edit. So here's what I'm going to do. Yes, what I'm going to do here is select this, grab this, flip it first of all. Okay. Then, having it still selected, I'm going to do a little bit of a okay. Okay. And of course, typical Krita, now it's not updating. And now that it is updating, And now it's not. And now it is. Oh my goodness. Okay. And maybe it will. And maybe it won't. You just never can tell with Krita. If it's going to do this or if it's going to do that. Okay. I know that looks a little bit silly. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to flip this. I know this all looks a little strange, but I suspect, okay, we're oriented that way. And that was stupid. Okay. So these two keyframes need to be reversed. That actually is not horrible, other than the fact that the mouth is kind of wacky. Oops. Can't do that. Got to do it this way because I don't want to affect the body, just the head. Okay. Okay. Now, again, the whole updating thing is a little bit problematic here, to put it very nicely. Okay, why is the whole body? I know I just screwed that up because I did it on the wrong frame. So that's what I meant to do. Okay. It's just too... Okay, so for that brief moment right there, the mouse in the wrong position. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to go through here frame by frame, but that's not the greatest tragedy ever. Not the greatest tragedy ever. Flip, rotate, move. Let's go back. There we go. Okay, that was quite a few hoops to jump through, but I think it worked. Let's have a look. Okay, yeah, not too horrible, other than the obvious disjointed wackiness right there, which... Going to bed? Alright. See that? So the struggle right now is, again, dyslexia moment. I have to figure out what layer this is happening in. And it's extremely confusing to my brain. There's your problem. Okay, it could be that the best solution would be to take it out entirely. Yes, that's the best solution. Okay, no problem. Brush, nice and big, It's in eraser mode. Let's just get rid of this body stuff. Boom, same thing. Just get rid of that. We'll let the body, the shift in body orientation happen at the end of the motion. Yeah, that will work, I believe. Okay. So now the only thing to really complain about would be the sort of lopsidedness of his head. So yeah, this is a lot of jumping around, but I think it's going to look pretty decent when it's done. Now I noticed that yeah, of course there's no eyebrows there because those tracks are muted. So now what we need to do, let's go to the eyebrow track and okay, so let's turn this off. So it's not needed there. So actually what we need to do is go right here, there. We need to hit insert to create a keyframe so that the eyebrows are hidden. I don't know why that keyframe is there. So that was challenging, wasn't it? Okay, I want a little bit of a push on his forehead here. Okay, and of course OpenTunes is acting stupid. Of course. And because it's acting stupid, I'm having to move a little more quickly than I would prefer to, which means there's no way I can get it exact from frame to frame the way I want to, which kind of sucks. So of course here we have a situation where the man's head appears to be growing. Apparently he has a traumatic brain injury and his head is actually swelling up in real time. Yes, yes indeed folks. That's what can happen with a TBI. Boom. Alright, let's save our work and see if it plays. Now, the weapon miss. Now, the weapon miss. Yeah, I mean, for some reason, somewhere along the lines, I lost this guy's secondary motion. But I strongly suspect that the world will keep turning. So now what I'm going to do is insert the background image, which is in the other window. Let's transition. Okay, in this window we want the backgrounds. Let's just scan through them. There's a lot of duplicates here because it was an image sequence. So obviously if you're rendering an image sequence, you're going to get a lot of shots that repeat. But basically that's the one we're looking for. So let's pop this down to the bottom. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay, so now the question becomes, do we want to deal with any sort of secondary stuff, glows and filters and that sort of business? Let's try something. Let's pop this up here, but lock the alpha. Go to, I need a really, really good airbrush. Alright. B key. And by the way, have I saved this lately? I don't know. Okay. And you know, this lock alpha thing is actually not what we wanted. Alright, so now I'm going to hit erase. Make it a little smaller. And okay. So now this is going to be in, oh heck, let's do screen mode, shall we? And I don't really like that, but that's why I wanted to try it. Yeah, overlay mode definitely not working. Addition, eh. So what if we just put this under these guys? Under them, yes, we're going to do one under, like so. Then we're going to duplicate it, and we're going to do one over. Boy. Definitely the effect I was looking for is not what I'm seeing, but I'm going to go ahead and try to don't want the eraser, you silly goose. Let's go maximum. Okay, so for this layer I'm gonna really try to make this a really nice bleed over onto my guys, and frankly all this out here can go out the window, baby. Okay, and then again, this is just an experiment. Okay, now this layer, which is behind them, I'm going to put this one in overlay mode. And see what that does. Okay, interesting. And now let's put a deep blue overlay over top of everything. Ooh, can't do that. Now let's play with this for a moment. Multiply versus normal. I like multiply. I like the way it interacts with it a little bit. There. Save that. It's probably going to have to regenerate the cache. Okay, wait a second. Okay, I'm definitely seeing a little bit of a hiccup in there. So let's go here. And what I think I want to do, believe it or not, don't usually do this, but I want to put this on one's okay. And now I do have to make translation adjustments to the mouth. big deal. No big deal. Yeah, so there's the issue. The issue is actually right there. Okay. Yes, let's take the little teardroppy thingy dingy. Shrink this baby down. Let's really fine tune this, because I think this is actually going to look pretty good if I can just fix this one issue. And here it's really egregious. Okay. Okay. Might as well fix that as long as we're here. It obviously needs to be fixed. Okay, and I am going to argue that this shot could actually be improved a little bit by just softening. Let's check that out. Okay, now probably if we just remove that keyframe, despite the fact that it took a lot of work to put it in there, that's actually probably going to make it look better. Yeah, other than, of course, now we got to again recompensate with the mouth. But that's okay. That's a fairly small price to pay. Okay, I think this keyframe can be removed. Remove. Boom, boom. Okay, and now the thing I'm seeing with the mouth basically is that this layer probably needs to be slightly transparent. Not very much. Yeah, probably that's about it. Yeah, just because it's jumping out a little bit more than I prefer. Yeah, we'll go with the big round number of 80%. Alright, save this. Something's going on with the eyebrows. Yep, they disappear just a little too early, didn't they? There we go. Let's render this baby. File. I guess we should probably save. Always save. Let's render the animation. And this is shot 74. And it's going to be going into anime render. Alright, and it's probably important to notice since Blender is actually open right now. Oh, we didn't add this to the show before, so that means we should be able to render this out. Yep, like so. And now, actually, we can go back to here, and we're going to go to the render folder, and we will simply drag and drop. Now, for some reason, as I've noted in a previous video, Krita, something about the MP4s Krita creates makes it so that this image viewer cannot get a thumbnail. This is a bit strange, but whatever. Alright. Let's duplicate this. And we don't want modifiers. This is the kind of thing that Blender 2.8 is, you really got to pay attention, because you got these little tabs right here, and I'm like, I didn't even see them, you know, so it took a while to figure out where the heck are the modifiers here. So let's edit that strip. Now, okay. Alright, and this is going to be the weapon miss. Okay. Alright, now again we're going to go here to the modifiers, and the modifier is going to be a curves. Actually, kick up the brightness slightly on this shot in order to match the last one. Who knows? You know, maybe that's just because I'm coming out of Krita. It's like the gamma settings are definitely a little bit different. Okay. File. Save. I wonder if we need another shot of a Kari right there. Like that frame right there. Let me just check something here. Okay, let's go ahead and make a duplicate of this right here, and I want to see what we can do with this insofar as editing. Okay, what we want to do is start it there, and that seems to work. Okay. Okay, so basically, I actually don't know in Blender how to do a hold on this frame since it's not at the end of the shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Box select them. Sorry. Box select them. and make them into a meta. Okay, and that way oh, come on. Box select, I guess I should just hit the G key, right? Go to there. Okay, let's just see how that feels. That is better. The tension. You know, the point is you got this building tension situation. Here again, we need a curves. Slightly too bright. And same situation here. I guess I could obviously copy the modifier, but okay, so right here okay, that's too dark actually. And really what I want to do is I want to have this bleed over. So he says, okay, what's going on here? Why in the heck? Oh, I see. Wait, no, I don't see. I'm going to start this slightly late. Now, yeah, like that. Now, weapon miss. Okay. And I'm actually going to put this here again, just for kicks and giggles. Now, if we go back to our sequence, boom, it's going to be down here, somewhere in the neighborhood of here. Yeah, she hasn't dropped the blade yet, so actually this is the shot we just did. Okay, so previously I had this shot, but I'm going to skip that shot. I'm going to put this shot in. That's what I'm going to do. So I think having this, boom, I like the pacing of that. Yeah, and then we'll cut to the shot of her pondering her next move, and then her next move, as you can see here, is to go ahead and drop the blade. So, okay, that took an hour. Not horrible, not great, but you can see that animating and creating, it's kind of like all the tools to do what you want to do are there, but some of them are pretty clunky, and it's usually in regard to the actual animation process. But of course it's cool that you can, you know, just add on all these different layers of stuff and really build up the look of your shot. So anyway, I think with that I will call it good for today. Give myself a little stretch. Oh yeah, that feels pretty good. Yeah, that feels pretty good. And say, you know, there's gonna